All right. Well, like most things in life, you gotta just charge forward. Sometimes you don't have the benefit of dipping your feet in. You just dive in head first. That's what I'm gonna do today. I consider this very live stream to be the introduction on a topic, a concept, an emotion. I guess this can go a few folds to how I wish to talk. Hey, hello, bass girl, sweetheart. So good to see you. I'm glad that you're here for this specifically and especially. I'm really gonna be relying Pooh, aka DJ Bricks. Mutate illustration. Hello, sweetie. I've missed you, and I hope everything is well. Give a shout out and a hug to keep the peels. And so I'm gonna dive right in, as I said, guys. I would normally say that I might have some general discomfort. Here, let me get the camera on. I just a little forewarning. I'm wrapped up like some Prince of Arabia because maybe, I don't want people to know where I'm at, but who cares? Everybody knows where I'm at, really. So, how do you like the look? I dig it. I dig it. Maybe putting a face to this topic is helpful and better. That one girl, Allie. Okay, that's it for the hellos. I draw the line. I have to say hello to Allie though. So the term, the word anxiety, I say it. I'm sure it provokes a lot of emotions, a lot of memories, and I guess I'm gonna start. And again, this is me setting up for another video live, not pre-recorded. I still want to maintain the live in just a better and a different setting. But this, it's been something I've been so eager to just start talking about that I just here I am. I'm on break and I wanted to start planting the seeds now. So for me specifically, anxiety is not something that I always suffered from. For me, sometimes it's painful to admit that I once had a life that did not have the complications that I still to this day, at nearly 40 years old, know and experience. However, if I was to take away this very thing, this anxiety in general from my life experiences, there are so many lessons I wouldn't have learned. There were so many trials that wouldn't have led to necessary failures and successes. So I do think that, the first 17 years of my life were perfection. I can remember where I would consider myself. I struggle to say this because I don't say it anymore. I haven't said it since I was 17. I was the quintessential normal 17-year-old teenager that did not have a lot of problems. I mean, when I'd get broken up with, when I didn't get the girl I liked, sure, it hurts and I would get a little emo and I'd just thrash out to Linkin Park. Hey, Kate, good to see you. I still have those days requested off for the concerts. Um, and yeah, like I miss when the complexities and the miseries of whatever it is were something so simple that I could follow the breadcrumbs back to something that was tangible and made sense. But as I've said many times, I one day woke up not entirely as a different person, but I did wake up with a new set of personal challenges and problems that I had never had in my lifetime. So right on the dot, I learned, and I do believe that this is something that is hereditary. It is very much genetic, and I activated them through my careless stupidity and partying and use of certain things that became available. And it's hard to think about it, remember it, and not get angry or feel bad or wonder, oh, if I didn't do this, that, or the other. Part of learning how not to conquer anxiety is coping with it, and I think I've learned how to live with it for the most part. I mean, sure, sometimes it doesn't always get the best of me, but it shows its ugly head in a way that will provoke me to isolate and not be living, to the fullest extent, and that makes the anxiety can very much lead to depression, and then they kind of coexist and maybe becomes this soup called bipolar. Oh, well, Rob, for context, real quick, and last shout out right there. I'm just talking in general about how anxiety has been a part of my life, starting at the age of, I believe, 18. And I do believe that I was the one at fault due to my activities back then. I can even recall my first anxiety attack, which was at a party. There were certain things around and available being consumed. And I remember at one of my best friend's houses, in one of the rooms, I just sat in a corner, and my eyes, this rapid eye movement was just completely out of control, and that was scary to me. Like my eyes were violently darting left and right, up and down, and I felt no sense of control. And that's the first time and the first example that I felt something of my own body was not entirely mine. And it was terrifying. But it did pass, and I crashed from, the activities of the night. And then fast forward, this is what makes it, I guess, a little strange. So this was after I dropped out of high school, and I did go back eventually, but while I was dropped out, I wanted to go visit my old high school friends. Somebody is texting me right now. Please hold your text messages. And I remember when I was walking there, I got the weirdest, some more sensations that I was not yet accustomed to. This is what anxiety was manifesting itself in its early stages. And in my experience, when we are introduced to a sensation that we are not familiar with, we get a very extreme version of it because our body and our minds have not yet learned how to cope with it. So that's probably why it ended up turning into something physical for me. So I saw some of my friends that I grew up with from middle school and high school, and let's say my friend that was taller than myself, I'd look up at him when we were speaking, and the strangest physical reaction would happen. My neck would get very stiff, very strange feeling, and it would honestly feel like I couldn't support the weight of my head. Strange thing. So I'd be focused on this eye contact thing, and then I got a whole complex about eye contact that lasted years and years. That was a real son of a bitch, let me tell you. So as I'm trying to maintain eye contact, I found myself not engaged like you normally would be with a friend that you grew up with, just shooting the shit and everything comes natural. I found myself focusing on the fact that I I need my face to look normal, like I'm listening to him. These thoughts that I've never had before, and my neck started to feel so strange and tightened that I'd feel like my fucking head was gonna like move on a swivel or something. And so this was my first time dealing with anxiety in public. That first attack I referenced earlier was in a dark room with friends that couldn't see me, and we were all, tripping on whatever, on Skittles or something. And I remember how discouraging it was because I saw a lot of my old friends from back at that time. Oh, hi, Sonny. Yeah, it is real, and put me in the hospital with what I thought was a heart attack out of the blue. No substance involved, though. Thought it was, I mean, that's pretty much a good summation. If I'm to articulate it, you really feel like the world is ending. I mean, and just convert that into feeling something internally. So when I went to my old high school at that time and saw as many friends as I could, I just got exhausted and discouraged. Like I was heartbroken. I wanted to cry because I didn't know why I didn't feel normal. I don't know why I couldn't just talk to some of my best friends ever. Hey, peaceful. And yeah, as happy as I was to see all these people that some of which are still in my life to this day, when I left, I felt more like I was escaping instead of walking away, happy that I had a little reunion. And that was the day that I officially learned Eli, you are going to go through a new kind of journey in your life. Everything that was done before that day is now past. It became almost irrelevant. I used to be able to find peace in drawing my own comic books, writing my own stories. I've written not entire novels, but I tried. All those things started to fall to the wayside, and then came the self-medicating. I don't want to turn this entirely into just my life story, but this is just the first video from, and the only one I'm going to do from the phone. I want to do this from a proper setting at home and proper engagement, clips, whatever the case. But I can't say this for anybody that is suffering panic attacks and how exhausting it can be, because with anxiety, you're putting on a face. You're you're going out there and you become obsessed with not having people see your thoughts. Yes, that sounds entirely irrational because it is. I was lucky to have a job that I had, although I had to be in the most public of situations. This was after drug court, or during drug court for that matter. Yeah, I'm skipping some life events, but if you followed me here, you know pretty much my story. When I was in drug court for a year, I couldn't take anything. It had to be El Natural. I had to piss clean, and I was a DJ, so I would use the microphone and speak to hundreds of people. I would play red light, green light with, the camp kids and get them to win prizes. Somehow, some way, I would find a way to still be funny, but it was all what I was able to get the world to see. Because inside, I was suffering. My heart was palpitating, and I wanted everything to stop. There is something to be said about human perseverance, finding little places that you can call your own where you're safe. I used the live journal way back when, and I would talk about the most insane thoughts, so much so I finally feel comfortable to say this out loud. I had written something pretty radical about doing something at work that wouldn't have harmed anybody but myself. And my uncle was secretly, one of my uncles was secretly reading my blog, and contacted my father, my grandma, and sent my dad $1,000 or so, and said, please take your son, my nephew, to a psychiatrist. Oh my God, please. And yeah, that was the beginning of more of this journey. That, I mean, it's the journey has gotten easier, and I take pride in the fact that I survived, because when you let anxiety completely envelop you and you lose your sense of self and you surrender to the depression that comes as a result, because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like when you're anxious and you go out and you rely on having a good experience with people, you find yourself that you can't enjoy company or activities. So then you get depressed, and then you're depressed because you're depressed. Like, damn it, I'm miserable, and I'm by myself. Why can't I find peace of mind here on my own? So you end up being in your own mental prison, and that prison I was stuck in for a couple of years. But I will say this: there's always a little bit of, I don't know, like a flower that grows out of the concrete, so to speak. I did learn how to write some very, very candid poetry that I tried to explain the depths of my emotions, and I think some of my best work, some of which that I was able to memorize. And I've done this before, so I don't want it to get hacky or anything, but let me see if I can remember. I've done this a few times, so forgive me if this is overkill. Let me see if I still got it. Let me try this one real quick. Okay, here we go. Remember, see? Let's go, yo, Stephen A, man. Little ball of energy right there. He's been, all of you that have been here, I have some level of respect for and appreciation for, massive gratitude. All right, let's go. Okay, let's see what I can remember. Hunger for numbing. Oh shit. Okay. Hunger for numbing, I turned to drugs. Turning psychotic, lost narcotics. Thrown to this daze like I'm lost in a maze. Once saying I'll never be phased, now I'm fucking crazed. My sense of paranoia, heightened. Fuck paranoia. I'm just straight up frightened. Trying to stop the crying. I'm prying, searching for a solution. Attempting to clear all this inner pollution. Getting high, releasing that smoke with a sigh, snorting that powder, making me shout louder. In pain, in shame, this is a test. I will never rest. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to the center of what's under your chest. So actually, that's that was a mix of two, but I still remember, most of that. Those are still on my old live journal URL somewhere. I have a huge compilation of these crazy psychological, almost M. Night Shyamalan kind of twists or David Fincher twists at the end. And that became one of my hobbies, sharing my works and people responding. The positive feedback I would get from people. They're like, I felt that, or I understand you. I think those are some of the things. I mean, hell, when I was in elementary school and I drew my first 10-part series comic book, whatever, it was with the X-Men. I made my own villain. Some of them were like 8 pages, some of them were, less or more. I was so proud of that. And I would always let my friends see my comics and read them. That carried all the way through high school. So I've always enjoyed doing the work and sharing them and then seeing what just it's something where you feel connection. And when you're suffering, even if you're trying to hide it, even if you can't explain it, it just reminds you that you're still human and that you're not alone. And that's why I think to this day, no matter how much it's helped or hurt doing this, it helps me. It's not always the ultimate saving grace. It's not always a safe place, but I've learned, and sometimes you still have to learn. I've learned to focus on more of the good than the bad. And some of you that I've met here through this other part of the journey has been a magical experience. And I have to be thankful with a bit of grace and humility and acknowledge, every mistake that has been done up to this point, because that's a part of being human and that's a part of growing and getting stronger, is being able to have that hindsight and not be entirely horrified at what you see and being able to forgive yourself. And so I think, yeah, this is the teaser video right here. Car Scar, man, it's always good to see you. Look, every time I see you, you are a king OG among these parts. There is nobody here that has been here as long as you or that is known of me on the YouTube streets. So I thank you for that, my friend. I got to send you a care package. I got some extra comic books that I want to send to somebody, but I don't think that's all y'all's thing. And I would love a consensus. Should I do a totally separate channel, totally focused on the comic book stuff? Because I got a lot of them. The shorts are very successful, but I don't think that you guys, this audience, would enjoy a pre-recorded video of me doing a review or, showing panels or explaining stuff. Who knows? Whatever the case, though, at least I have this. There is a platform here, and I'm so blessed for that. And I can reach out, and we all have that ability. It's important to remind ourselves, no matter what we're going through, if we put the effort in, we can reach out to just about nearly anybody. And we always have that superpower. Don't forget that you do have strength. You've made it to today years old. That means you've gone through some shit. You're a survivor, you're a fighter, you're a warrior, and you can do almost anything. Not to sound like the bullshit teachers we had back in the 90s where they said, you can do anything you put your mind to. You could be an astronaut and you could be a billionaire. Yeah, all right. Well, Mrs. Spade or whatever, you lied to me, you bitch. All right, so this is the teaser. This is the phone version of the live where I talk about anxiety. There's so many more stories. I can't tell you how many dumb situations I put myself in, so many things that I did, and all because I wanted to jump out of my own skin or escape, or sometimes it would manifest itself in a way where I wanted to act out and be noticed, which is so completely bass backwards from when you're anxious, you want to just kind of die in a hole. So the human condition is fascinating enough that I want to stick around and see how it all turns out for as long as I can, even until that ultimate day where I'm not here. And there's a part of me that's romanticized oblivion. but it's important not to focus on the end. It's cheesy, I know, but Linkin Park said it best. I'm sure it was said before. The journey is always more important than the end or the start. This is Progressive Patriot signing out for now. Please feel free to let me know what you think in the comments after the video. Shout out to Replay Crew. Big shout out to all of you because you all matter to me in my life and in this journey. I hope your journey goes smooth. Actually, screw that. It's never smooth. Rock and roll, motherfucker truckers.